Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Stella, in studio, or kind of in studio, I guess, with Jay Dash. We are live via satellite. I'm live via satellite anyway. By the time this gets on the air, it won't be live. Still hiding from Hillary, still hiding in the woods. She's gaining on me. That's why we didn't have our Steelers recap last week, so I got to apologize to everybody for that. But we got me and Dash this week, the Steelers and the Jets, Week 5 matchup. I did do a preview show for it. I had the Steelers winning, I think it was 23-20. The Steelers pulled some guns out, and they jacked it up a little bit more. They won 31-13.
And I tell you what, man, this team looks good. I know a lot of people are starting to bring out teams who they think are the favorites for the playoffs or for the Super Bowl in the AFC, and I heard Denver, and they're obviously one. New England's one. I heard some Oakland Raiders, too. But I'm telling you, man, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is for real, man. You look, they've scored over 30 points in how many games now? I know they didn't do it in the Cincinnati game, but it was bad weather, and they got blown out by Philadelphia. Other than that, man, the offense has looked great without some key weapons, obviously, and the defense, man, to me, has been an even bigger surprise. I mean, they've let up 16 points or less in all but one game this season.
Yeah, we're averaging 18.6 points per game given up by our defense. That's 9th best in the league. The only thing that's a little scary still is the 379 yards per game. But when we get in the red zone, we lock it up. And as long as they can continue to do that, I would like to see them start trying to get a little more turnovers and maybe a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. Not even necessarily sacks, just a little more pressure. But they did do better against Kansas City and the Jets. So it looks like we're moving that way.
Yeah, I think they have something like 7 sacks over the past 2 games or something like that. And that is definitely a total that you can get behind. I mean, at the end of the season, if you got 3 sacks a game, you're close to 50 sacks. So, I mean, if they can keep this pace, everything looks good. And I tell you, Vince Williams has really been a big surprise as well with Ryan Shazier going down. The past 2 games, Vince Williams has stepped in and has been one of the best players on this defense.
He's definitely a big surprise. Not that I didn't think he could fill in, but he's played probably almost as well, if not as well, as Shazier did, while he was healthy. I hear a lot of fans on social media saying that they want to bench Ryan Shazier and put in Vince Williams, and that's not going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers know what they have in Ryan Shazier when he's healthy, but I do look for Williams to take over for Lawrence Timmons next year, so don't expect to see him back in a Steeler uniform.
And I feel a lot better about it now that I see Vince Williams over these past 2 games.
Yeah, and he played well, in his first year or 2 in the league. Nothing that, he didn't have a whole lot of time. He had some time with Shazier missing last year. But he's definitely gotten better each year. He's a pretty good special teams player. When he moves into the starting lineup, he may not play special teams. But all in all, he's a guy that can flow to the ball, and he's got a good nose for the football, and he seems to make plays when he's out there.
And I tell you who else I liked over the past 2 games as well. Now, this past game, he didn't do quite as much, but Jordan Dangerfield definitely in that Kansas City game, and it seems like he's holding his own as well.
Gets no respect.
Believe it. I mean, it seems like next man up with this team right now, man. It really doesn't matter. Whoever steps in, and I mean, that's what you want in the NFL, and that's what they always preach, but it doesn't always work out like that. But right now, it is working out like that. I mean, you look at this game, everything went the way you would expect as a Steelers fan. I mean, it was hard for the New York Jets to run against this defense, and really, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I know they didn't force too many turnovers. Did they have a turnover in this game?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
But yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick coming into this game actually had a ton of turnovers over his previous 2 games. Now, they didn't really force any turnovers off of him, but they still held him to 255 yards. And usually, I mean, this defense lets over 300 yards passing in a game. So they look great defensively. And then you go to the other side of the ball. Big Ben. Everybody, I heard a bunch of talk like Big Ben's playing better than anybody else at quarterback, blah, 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 like it's this huge surprise. Well, I mean, Peyton Manning's gone. It's only Tom Brady and Big Ben, really. I mean, you can throw Rodgers in there maybe sometimes.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, I guess Drew Brees, but his team's so bad, I mean, and he's getting older. But, I mean, it's not that big of a surprise. Big Ben is one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Believe it. He's got, I think, 15 touchdowns on the year, but only 4 interceptions. I don't know if he's averaging 300 yards per game, but he's averaging right around 8 yards per pass. I seen that, oh man, who was it? Matt Ryan is averaging over 10 yards per pass play right now. He'd be the first guy since Norm Brocklin in the 50s if he could keep that pace up for a whole season. I was always surprised that Roethlisberger could keep it up around 8 yards, and for Matt Ryan to be at 10. I don't know if that's going to hold up. Julio Jones did have that 300-yard game the other day. Who's better, Julio or Antonio?
I mean, coming into the season, I'd say Antonio, but I mean, really, I wouldn't say he's a letdown. He's still one of the best players on this offense, but really, I mean, even you said it coming into the season, this is the year that he's going to put up 2,000 yards, and really, I think that's impossible at this point. He's really, I mean, he's been under 100 a few games now, and he's really taking a back seat to Le'Veon Bell in these 2 games that Le'Veon has returned. I mean, Le'Veon Bell looks like the best option in this offense.
Yeah, he does it through the passing game. He does it on the ground. I said in the preview show that I thought Le'Veon would have a bigger impact in the short passing game than in the running game because the Jets are really good at stopping the run. And I feel like he did. He really affects what the defense can do. If they blitz too many people, he's always able to just chip somebody and kind of slip out there for a short pass. Or we just legit send him out of the backfield on a route, and then you have a linebacker trying to cover him, and that's never any good. So Le'Veon Bell is definitely the top player on this offense. I don't take anything away from Antonio Brown, especially after that Gridiron Heights video that was going around on Facebook. I don't know if you've seen it. Did you see it?
No. Facebook,
oh, it's hilarious.
Said? What do you think?
Ask Easy when you see him. I think I posted it on the page. He can go look at it. But Antonio Brown just keeps going booming, and he's pelvic thrusting towards everybody, and it just does hilarious stuff. You got to check it out.
Didn't see it. If Easy has it, I'll check it out. If not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to see it.
Oh, that's good. It's good
But
stuff.
yeah, you're right. Le'Veon Bell, 20 carries, 66 yards on the ground. That's a 3.3 yard per carry average. So he didn't do huge things on the ground, but 88 yards receiving on 9 catches, 11 targets. And, I mean, you can combine those two. That's over 150 yards right there. So that led the team in offense, obviously.
He's going to continue to do it. Mike Tomlin said he's our guy, and they're going to run him till the wheels fall off, just like Willie Parker, especially if the Steelers don't believe they're going to keep this guy long term. If they think they're going to ride him out for this year, franchise him next year, ride him out again, and then he's going to be worn out. I mean, that could be a plan internally. We don't know. But as long as this guy's healthy, they're going to feed him the rock because he gets the job done. Did you hear the announcers say he has averaged slightly over 120 yards from scrimmage for his career so far? That's the most in the history of the NFL in his short time frame.
And it's even shorter because he can't stay healthy. What he needs to do is stay healthy, though. And, I mean, again, they gave him the ball, 29 times in this game? I guess that isn't too bad. But for today's NFL, that's still a ton of touches in one game for a player.
Believe it. I was surprised the Steelers were able to go deep as much as they were. I know the Jets have been getting burnt deep, but I thought with Revis out, they'd be playing their safeties a little deeper to try to protect from it. And then Sammy Coates goes and catches, what was it, a 71-yard bomb?
Yeah, I tell you what, Sammy Coates, he had his ups and downs. I mean, he really showed his upside and his downside in his game. He dropped so many passes, but he does have something wrong with his hand. He had like a gash in it or something. I did hear.
Yeah, he's in a soft cast right now.
Yeah, I heard he got 17 stitches, I think after the game maybe it was.
Yeah, he finished the game and then got the stitches.
But, I mean, look, now over the past 2 games, this is a guy that we said, hey, 2-3 catches a game, one big one, you maybe find the end zone, and he's doing his job. But now over the past 2 games, against Kansas City, he was the most targeted receiver on the team, and he had the biggest game. And now this week, 6 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. So this guy is kind of stepping into that Martavis Bryant role, man. I mean, he's really filling his shoes pretty well right now.
Antonio has 470, and I think Coates has a little over 400, but Coates has like 20 less catches to do it.
Oh, I believe it, man.
And as far as Martavis Bryant goes, I bet you the Steelers will give him one more shot next year. But if he messes up anytime between now and then and fails another test, they're going to cut him, especially after seeing what Sammy Coates can do. And when Eli Rogers gets healthy, you know, he's a full participant in practice today. If he can stay healthy and get out on the field, then that's a guy who will work the slot. So then you have Antonio and Sammy on the outside and Eli in the middle.
And like you said, if Martavis does get that shot sometime next season, hopefully him and Coates on the outside with Brown and Eli in the slots and 4 wide.
Ridiculous.
Oh man, I'm loving the sounds of that. And like you mentioned before, Ladarius Green could be back sometime soon as well, and maybe that takes this offense another step. And I tell you what, man, as much as we hate Todd Haley and we talk down on him, you can't hate the results this season.
Believe it, I still hate the guy though.
I mean, you can hate him, but listen, man, I'm starting to get to the point where if he's going to give Ben more responsibility and let him call his own plays, I mean, that's kind of what we wanted. If he's going to do that, just ride out Todd Haley until Ben retires if Ben's going to put up 30 points a game. But I mean, if not, I mean, I'd like to see him become more consistent as well. I mean, they don't play that well on the road sometimes. I'd like to see more consistency, but I just want to see Todd Haley give most of the power to call the plays for the offense to Ben, and then just ride Todd Haley out. Why not?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ben's 20-1 in October in home games. Ridiculous.
And I tell you what, if the defense isn't going to let up 20 points most of the time, it's going to be real easy for this team to win games. Now, they're going to Miami this coming week.
Is Will Smith going with them?
Yeah, dead wrong. But, I mean, this is almost a must-win game, but it's one of those games that can sneak up on you. As a Steelers fan, you know sometimes they just have those let-down games against the worst teams, and this could be one of them, man. But Miami's been so bad this season. So, I mean, Pittsburgh, I think it's going to go into – they're going to go into that New England game. I think it's in Pittsburgh, correct?
Yeah.
I think they're going to go into that game. Whoever wins that game should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
We're going to get into that Miami game. Fans, just look for our Steelers preview show for week 6. Check that out. As far as this Jets game, one last thing. Is there anything that the Jets did right?
Brandon Marshall had a good game. He usually makes some stupid mistakes when we watch him play. We watched him a few times last season, I remember, man, and he just made the dumbest plays, and we were pretty much fed up with him. But he had a good game here. 8 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. And, I mean, Matt Forte looked okay, man. He did pretty well on the ground against this defense. 12 carries for 53 yards, which is a 4.4 yard per carry average. But, I mean, in the second half, the Steelers just took control and really forced Fitzpatrick's hand, and he had to win the game for him. And that's not something he's doing right now. He's having trouble winning games for this team.
At 1-5, do the Jets have any playoff chances?
Well, I think they're 1-4, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
But they'll probably be 1-5. Who are they playing next week?
I have no idea, but whoever it is, they're probably going to win. The Jets are bad. Eric Decker's out for the year.
Let's look at it. New England's definitely going to be there. The Steelers are definitely going to be there. The Denver Broncos are definitely going to be there. It looks like Oakland's one of the better teams. That's 4. So you still got a couple teams there to fight for a spot. So I don't think it's over. I don't think the Ravens are going to just blow up and win 12 games or anything. And Cincinnati doesn't. Like you mentioned before the season, you thought they were going to be somewhat of a letdown. Not that they're terrible or anything, but I don't think they're going to be up there either. So I think there's a race for those last 2 spots for sure.
The Bengals are 2-3 going into Foxborough this week, so they could easily come out of there 2-4. And if the Steelers beat the Dolphins, they're going to be 3 games up for the division with the tiebreaker in hand as of right now. They still have that other matchup against Cincinnati, but it's not looking good for Cincinnati to win the division if they lose and Pittsburgh wins.
What's Baltimore doing this week? Are they off?
You know what? I'm not even 100% sure. I'll have to check into that before we do our Dolphins
They're
segment.
going into the New York Giants.
Hey, that could be a tough game. You never know. The Giants could play well at home. Baltimore fired their offensive coordinator and promoted Marty Morningwig, I think is how you say his last name. Their offense isn't playing consistently. Joe Flacco, they've had some moments, but they're bleh.
Did you see Kubiak is not coaching Denver tonight because of complex migraine issues?
Yeah, he was in the hospital for a couple of days. They weren't even sure he was going to be able to get out for the game. So I think the special teams coordinator is coaching the team right now.
What makes the migraine complex?
Maybe they make him run through a rat race like the rats for cheese to find his migraine medicine.
You're dead wrong.
Anything else?
Yeah, give me your player of the game offensively.
Player of the
and
game
defensively.
offensively, Ben Roethlisberger, dude, threw 4 or 5 touchdowns again.
4 touchdowns. I think that makes 9 over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's won another game at home in October. He's the reason why this offense is clicking at such a high level. I said in the game the other players needed to help pick him up a little bit because he can't do it all himself. Maybe he can.
How about
defensively? It's Vince Williams, hands down.
Going with Vince Williams. I like what the secondary is doing as a whole, but yeah, Vince Williams has been too good over the past 2 games. I'll give it to him defensively. You gave it to Ben. I'll give it to Le'Veon Bell, man.
There you go.
I know Big Ben did it big or whatever, but Le'Veon Bell, man, since he came back, I mean, they've dominated the past 2 games.
Believe it. Le'Veon on my fantasy team.
Not to say that, I mean, the Jets were close at halftime. I mean, they actually had a lead early, obviously, and then at halftime, it was a close game. 14-13, I believe it was?
Yeah, Pittsburgh scored, 21 points in the second half?
17.
17?
Yeah, 14 in the fourth quarter. And I like to see that, too. Do it all game long. They scored a touchdown in the first quarter and 2 in the fourth quarter. Beast. Do it at the beginning and the end. You're going to win a lot of games.
Believe it. Fans, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube. Again, sorry about the shitty quality. We will be getting better sooner rather than later.